Interesting article I've been reading by a Yuval Noah Harari, who is a lecturer at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. This article appeared on MSM.com several weeks ago. I'll link it in the description here. It's called The Meaning of Life in a World Without Work. The author points out that most jobs that exist today will be disappearing in the not-so-distant future. So by the middle of the century, we may well have, quote, a new class of people, the useless class. People who are not just unemployed, but unemployable. He goes on to say in this new future with its formidable technology, maybe we have universal basic income. People don't need to work. So we have a redundant section of society who immerse themselves in virtual reality games. And he attempts to make a link between this modern phenomenon, virtual reality, and the religions of old. Mr. Harari says, "What is a religion if not a big virtual reality game, played by millions of people together? Religions like Islam and Christianity invent imaginary laws such as don't eat pork, repeat the same prayers a set number of times each day, don't have sex with somebody of your own gender, and so forth. These laws exist only in the human imagination. No natural law requires the repetition of magical formulas, and no natural law forbids homosexuality or eating pork. Muslims and Christians go through life trying to gain points in their favorite virtual reality game." End quote. The author then makes this absurd analogy between kids hunting for Pokemon and the conflict between Jews and Muslims in Jerusalem. No. I see what you're trying to do. Fantasy is what it is, but not all fantasies are equal in the sense of real-world consequences. And whereas a kid or a grown-up playing Pokemon is aware that he or she is playing a game, a religious fundamentalist, a zealot, a fanatic, for him it's no game. It isn't virtual reality. It's just reality. The countless people killed in the name of God, lives ruined, families destroyed. That isn't a fucking game. That isn't playtime. Religious fundamentalists may well be following scriptures that are a massively inaccurate interpretation of reality, but for the true believer, that is reality. And there are huge real-world consequences where people put their deeply held beliefs into practice. The author also says, consumerism is a game. Is it? Is capitalism a virtual reality game? How about communism? What about slavery? He who collects more slaves than his neighbour gets more imaginary points and therefore wins the contest in some fucked up, horrendous way. No. But the author does make a rare good point when he says that the meaning of life is always a fictional story. It really is. There isn't an inherent purpose to life. Yeah, we live in a world of, air quotes, imaginary laws, social constructs, institutions which obviously have no meaning outside of the human world. However, the distinction between human and the natural world is a false one, I would suggest, as is the distinction between natural and artificial. When you get right down to it, everything is natural. Nature is everything. Yeah. And human imaginings have real-world consequences. I'm sure we can agree. Perhaps you can make the argument that anything competitive, any competitive activity is in fact a game, structured and goal-oriented, politics, business, you name it. But I say not everything is play. Not everyone is playing. What constitutes a game has been the subject of philosophical debate and discussion for a very long time. I'm not going to get into that here. Allow me to finish by asking a few questions. Is there really such a thing as a useless class of people? Does it not beg the question, useless to who? Useless to the economic master class, perhaps? Is it not a very dangerous idea? This mass of people are useless to us. They serve no economic purpose. What good are they to us? What good are they to ourselves? What good are they to themselves, excuse me? What good are these sponges to themselves, these layabouts, these computer game playing nomarchs? Yeah. The world is changing rapidly due to massive technological leaps forward in increasingly small amounts of time, and it scares the shit out of many people. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe many will find themselves out of a job. Perhaps I will be one of them. But perhaps new forms of employment will emerge as societies themselves go through significant or even revolutionary changes.